So behind me here, you can see the taro I have growing in my aquaponics system. You can see it has gotten quite big. So basically in this video, I'm going to be taking it out of my aquaponics system, kind of harvesting what it is there, and also telling you why I wouldn't grow taro in my aquaponics system after I take it out. So that's pretty much what this video will be about. So here's a farther shot of the taro plant. Let me back up. You can see it's gotten quite big. I even had to remove this, or the plastic on the top, just so it can grow. Well, technically I actually removed it for some other purpose, just to remove something from the greenhouse, but now that I took it off, I can't really put it back on with the taro there because it's gotten quite big. I had it in a different spot originally and moved it here since it was getting too big for that spot as well. So basically I'll be removing it and trying to harvest the taro root. The leaves and stems and stuff you can eat, but you have to boil it for an hour because it is toxic. So there's a special way you have to deal with that. So right now I'll just give it to my chickens or the compost bin since it's toxic for us. But basically the reason why I won't be growing taro in my aquaponics system after I take this out is for three main reasons. I think 3 or 2 main reasons. Basically it gets too big. It takes up too much space in here. Versus I can grow other things that I can harvest quickly, because as well it also takes a lot longer to grow, even though it does grow pretty quickly in my aquaponics system and quite big since the amount of nutrients it has. But it still takes up too much space for my liking, whereas I'd rather plant something else that I can use. Also, another reason why I won't be growing it in my aquaponics system is I do have a video I'll post right after this, you can see, but basically all on these leaves during the morning they drip water through a process called transpiration. So all of this is full of water. Well, it's not a puddle, but it's moist completely all out here as well, just because it's constantly taking water out from the aquaponics system, moving it through its stems and dripping it out there. So that's like the biggest reason why I'm not going to grow it in here, since it's constantly draining the water from my aquaponics system, which is kind of a nuisance, you can say. Other than that, if you haven't grown it yet, I would recommend just trying it out, since it is pretty impressive. When someone looks at this, they can see the big taro plant. This is a dwarf one, so it does get bigger. I do have a bigger one, on my pond, which is twice the size, I think. Twice the height, basically, which is crazy. So that's pretty much the 3 reasons why I wouldn't grow it in my aquaponics system again after this, unless I set up a separate tub for it, which would be probably, if I do, it would be like out here in this area. It'd be a big tub, maybe 4 feet wide or more. That way the water dripping would just be inside the tub itself, and I wouldn't have it restricted in the greenhouse, so it can grow as much as it can. But that's if I would do it again. So this is why that taro has to come out. It's dripping water everywhere. Got water dripping on my head right now. From this leaf right there, all these leaves drip water. You can see there. Focuses. That little droplet. So it also makes all over here wet. So it just keeps taking water out of my aquaponics system and dripping it on the floor. Even the small leaves. Every single leaf. Just to show you what I've taken out so far, you can see all these little plants, and I believe that's all the taro root. So that is quite a few, which is pretty cool actually. So these smaller plants I might try to repot and sell them, but you can see this is quite a job. You got roots everywhere, and this thing is pretty solid in there. So we'll see how much of this I can actually get out easily. It is pretty tough already, but it's pretty cool, the taro root. This is actually making me reconsider my previous thing, so I might actually plant it in here and keep it. Just try to cut all the big leaves off and keep it small, because it's pretty cool to harvest the taro. Because we've tried in our regular garden out here some time ago, I mean quite some time ago, but it requires so much water that doesn't really work out. So in the aquaponics system it works very well, except for the fact, as I mentioned earlier, that it constantly drips water. So we'll see, maybe I set something separately up for this taro since it is pretty cool. Look at that mess I made. All the leaves and roots. And we got all the taro plants here, a bunch of tubers, which is pretty cool. And all of these ones, I will cut off the tubers and stuff, make sure there's some roots on there, and then stick it in that bucket over there. Maybe I can sell them, make a little bit of money. So time to do some more work. There's like 40 minutes of taking that plant right out of there. So you can see the spot here where the taro was. It is completely gone. There's still probably a good amount of roots in here, so I need to get some red worms to stick in here. I haven't done that yet. But I have this guy here, which I'll leave here. I might take out the big one and just have the small ones and see if I decide to grow it later on. But that's something I'll see, because it will still leak water from here. Not as much now since there's not this big one here. So you can see all the taro I have harvested right there, and then all the plants I have over in this bucket here. So we'll see, maybe I can sell them, otherwise they'll just go in the compost. You can see this is where the taro used to be. So now I have some celery that I planted here, and I got this area closed off, so now it can be prepared for when it starts to get colder. I'll leave this guy in here for now, just to see whether or not I decide to keep it and grow it, since that taro we ate was pretty good. Not gonna lie there, but we'll see what I decide because of the fact that you can still see the drop there. It always drips water. Cut off the leaf that was sticking out all the way, but we'll see how it goes. That is an option that I might do or might not. Well, that's all for this video. Those were just the reasons why I personally wouldn't grow taro in this kind of greenhouse, even though I'm keeping this thing because the taro tastes good. But you were able to see me harvesting that, and I think it was those 3 reasons: that the dripping, that it grows too big and it takes up too much place, plus it grows not too quickly, so it's more economical to do something else. Well, celery doesn't grow too quickly. So that's basically all for this video, just the removing of the taro and explaining why it's kind of hard to grow taro in a smaller greenhouse environment or a smaller aquaponics system, where it's versus it's more for a bigger area where it can take off and it can drip all the water it wants, so it doesn't drain my aquaponics system. So that's all for that video. If you have any questions or comments, remember, leave them below. And as always, give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching.